Hey guys, I have been meaning to do this video for a while, and I apologize if it's a bit of a talking head, so if that's not your thing, feel free to look at some of my other content. But I thought it'd be worthwhile to say a little bit more about the boat buying process. We are now pretty far along in the process of buying our second boat. For those of you who've been following along or who have read my blog at cruisingcalypso.com, we bought our first boat, the 2000 Sea Ray 310, about 7 years ago, and now we're in the process of buying a 2001 Sea Ray 400 sedan bridge. Processes have been very different, and I just like to give you benefit of what I've learned along the way. So the first boat we actually purchased off of Craigslist. We really didn't know much about what we were doing other than the fact that we did identify the size of the boat we wanted. She's about 30 feet, 31 feet, and the kind of boat. We did identify that we wanted the Sea Ray 310. It just happened that we were looking around, we called a few brokers, nothing really interested us, and we saw this boat listed on Craigslist not too far away from us. It was located on a river off of Boston Harbor, which is where we live. And so we went over and took a look. It was being listed by the owner. We went over, took a look, and as far as we concerned, the boat looked great. You know, it was clean, started right up, ran well, and it seemed good. We checked it out, electronics worked, everything worked on it. Of course, you know, I did know that it was worthwhile getting a survey. So owner was fine with that, had the survey done. And during the course of the survey, the surveyor did discover that it did have a soft spot in the foredeck, which is not uncommon for Sea Rays to have up around the winch or the forward hatches. There was some water infiltration. So I was able to negotiate with the owner to split the cost of having that repair done. And then the other thing we found was that the starboard cutlass bearing needed to be replaced. So that was all well and good. The boat, what I ultimately came to understand was that the boat had not really been updated. It had been well taken care of, it had low hours, but it hadn't been updated in terms of the electronics, the canvas, the television was the original, the soft goods were all original on the boat. So these are things I wasn't really taking into account because it had those things, and I just didn't see that that was something that had to be updated. So we purchased the boat, and over the course of the 7 years that we've had Calypso, we have done a substantial amount of work. Of course, the very first thing we did when we took possession of it was we had the foredeck peeled up, the core scraped out, new core put down, and then the deck laid down again to fix that soft spot in the forward deck. But then over the course of the several years, we have had to replace all the canvas, all the isinglass. We upgraded all the electronics, new forward custom mattress for the forward berth, and we replaced the original TV VCR combination TV with a modern flat screen and DVD, so we can stream directly to that. Replaced the microwave that hadn't been updated in a while and wasn't working. Again, the boat was clean, but it just hadn't been updated in any material way. So we did all those things. Fortunately, the engines had been updated and they had been taken care of. They were freshwater cooled Horizon 5.7s. So in the end, everything worked out. But we did invest a fair amount of money to bring the boat up to what I would consider, current for that model year. In the process that we're going through now, looking at the 2001 Sea Ray 400 sedan bridge, we are working through a broker. Now, we found this boat online, and we initially, I searched for this particular model. I looked around and identified I wanted the 400 sedan bridge. I wanted one that was newer, that was 2001 or newer. Some of the earlier versions of this boat did have some water infiltration problems since the model started in 1996. And so I did not want a 96 through 2000 boat. I also wanted a boat that had the Caterpillar 3126 diesel engines as opposed to the Cummins diesels. Two reasons for that. The Cummins diesels are the larger engine, and while it gives you a little bit higher speed, burns a little bit more fuel, and also the Cummins diesel is a mechanical diesel, whereas the 3126 Caterpillar is an electronically controlled diesel, and you can get engine information off of that and have that interfaced into your electronic console. And you can't do that without a whole lot more effort on the Cummins Diamond Series. Both excellent engines, and some people will swear by the Cummins engines. They're bigger, gives you more faster, but I want the Caterpillar engines. Looked at a couple of boats here up in Boston, nothing really good. In fact, some were really in very bad shape. Some I reached out to brokers and I got no response. I finally located this boat in Maryland, in Graysonville, Maryland. Talked to the broker, it was still available, flew the family down in January, and we took a look, and it was a little bit cold, but we were able to get on board the boat. It looked good. So we decided to go ahead and make an offer on the boat because I knew that there weren't a lot of these boats around. I didn't see any, and there was sort of a range I was willing to go. Anything further south than Maryland would have been a lot harder to bring the boat back to Boston. I certainly didn't want to. There were a number of boats in Canada, and bringing a boat back from Canada, whether it be over land or over water, just would have been too big a trip. And these boats don't travel well over land given their size. And so, I really had said, I really can't go much further south than Maryland, and be able to reasonably bring the boat back. So we found this boat. It was in good shape. And so we made an offer. I think we were pretty aggressive with the offer, but the owner was interested in selling. So we came to terms and agreed on the offer. And as I mentioned in my last video, we just came back from having the boat surveyed down at the dock and doing a sea trial of the boat. It was very clean. It went really well. A few small issues we have to address, and we'll see how that goes. I am waiting for the surveyor's report, and I am waiting for the oil samples. When I get all of that back, I will do a video and walk you through what the surveyor has said, take a look at the oil samples, and help you understand that. And overall, this process has been a little bit better because I have been looking for some of those items that I didn't look for on the first boat. Electronics were all updated last year. The canvas is 2 years old. All the rest of the soft goods, the beds have been replaced. The TVs, the boat has 3 TVs, have been replaced. The boat actually comes with a satellite receiver for the television. New carpeting in the salon. The engines are immaculate. Things have been replaced. New battery charger, new domestic water pumps. The boat has really been updated. It's actually a lot like our current Calypso in terms of its condition versus how Calypso was when we first bought her. So it's a pretty big contrast there. So what I'm trying to say is that you really need to do your homework and know what you're looking at when you look at these boats, because you go into them and they look great. They have a lot of gadgets. They have a lot of electronics. They look wonderful. They run well. But you have to know what you're looking at. You have to look at the details. You have to look at the canvas. Has the canvas been taken care of? Has it been cleaned? Has it been waterproof? Is it stored inside? Are the electronics current? These days electronics change so often that, any electronics, anything more than 10 years old, probably you should think about updating. It doesn't have to be updating if it's functioning just fine. But probably after 10 years, you might want to consider that if there's a problem. It's certainly not worth fixing or adding on to it, especially if you're talking about a boat that has electronics from pre-2010 or even 2005. When you're talking, before NEMA 2000, it was NEMA 183 standard. Those or a Raymarine system that was using CTOC. You really might want to consider upgrading those systems. It's just like a computer. A PC from 2005 or 2010 you wouldn't be using today. So the same thing. The chip speed that operates the instrument just is not as quick. The refresh rate is not as quick. It's not what you would expect even on an iPad. So I think the key lesson here is do your homework. Absolutely have a surveyor. We had a surveyor the first time, and that was the best thing we did. We learned a lot, so we did know what we were getting when we got the first Calypso. We found a good surveyor this time around for this boat, and it has worked out very well. It generally runs you about $800 to about $1,200 for the survey, depending on what you have done. In this case, this survey was $900 plus $300 or so for the oil samples for the two engines, the gear cases, and the generator. Oh, and that's the other thing. This boat also has a brand new generator that was put in 2016. It's an Onan diesel generator. No, Kohler, excuse me. A Kohler generator, and it replaces the original Onan generator that was on the boat. So, do your homework, find out the boat you're interested in, talk to brokers. Good luck trying to get a broker to call you back. Sometimes they will, sometimes you won't. Try to get on board a boat that is not for sale so you can just look around and get a feel for the boat, and then reach out and find that boat, have a good idea of what it's worth, and get a good pricing. So, hopefully you'll find this valuable. If you do, click the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll let you know when the survey comes back. Thanks.